It's been a few years since Ford last applied an RS badge to one of its models, but the wait is finally over. This is the all-new Ford Focus RS, a 345 brake horsepower, four-wheel drive mega hatch. Now, with the Golf R, Audi RS3 and Mercedes-AMG A45 to contend with, it certainly isn't short of opposition. But before it squares up to the Germans, there is one thing we need to establish first. Is it any good?
On paper, there's plenty to get excited about. The 2.3 litre 4-cylinder EcoBoost engine has been transplanted from the new Mustang, but reworked to produce 345 brake horsepower and 440 Nm of torque. The Focus is also the first RS model since the Escort RS Cosworth to be fitted with four-wheel drive, with around 70% of the engine's torque being able to be sent to the rear wheels. As for the gearbox, it's a 6-speed manual only. There's no fancy twin-clutch transmission here.
So the question is, what does all of that result in? Well, 0 to 62 miles per hour takes just 4.7 seconds, and the top speed is 165 miles per hour. And believe me, it feels every bit as quick as those numbers suggest. But because it's a manual, if you look on the spec sheet, you'll notice the Focus is slightly slower than both the Audi and Mercedes. But to compensate for that, there is an overboost function in the Focus RS, which delivers an extra 30 Nm of torque for 15 seconds under hard acceleration. As for the engine, well, it certainly has its own unique charm and character, with lovely bangs and crackles when you lift off the throttle from the exhaust, but there's no getting away from the fact that it has lost some of its predecessor's 5-cylinder charm, but that will come as no great surprise given as this car has lost a cylinder due to the new 2.3 litre 4-cylinder EcoBoost engine. But get it past 3,500 RPM, as you can hear, and there's still plenty to enjoy. Now, two of the biggest talking points with the new Focus RS are arguably this car's new drift mode and four-wheel drive system. Now, as we said previously, it's the first fast Ford since the Escort RS Cosworth to be fitted with four-wheel drive, and you can certainly sense that this car is being pushed in to a corner from the rear rather than being dragged in from the front. But to really see what this thing can do and really test that new drift mode, we need to be heading to a track. So that's exactly where we're going.
But before it can work on the racetrack, the Focus has to work in the real world. Peel back the boisterous exterior and this 345 brake horsepower monster remains a practical 5-door hatchback. The boot is wide but a little down on space over the standard Focus at 260 litres due to a new subframe and rear differential. As for the cabin, well, it's certainly less dramatic than the exterior, with all of the main controls being carried over from the standard Focus, but a set of Recaro bucket seats do spice things up a bit, but will set you back £1,145. But that's enough of the sensible stuff. What's it like on the track? Well, in a word, brilliant. Put it in track mode and the RS takes on some added aggression. The throttle response is sharpened, exhaust volume turned up, and the dampers stiffened by 40%. What that leaves you with is an incredibly responsive and blisteringly quick hot hatch. It's perhaps not as explosively fast as the Mercedes, but the AMG does have a 31 brake horsepower power advantage. Ford has also ditched the variable ratio steering rack from the Focus ST in favour of a fixed rate setup in the RS. It immediately feels more precise and more consistent in its feedback, allowing you to place exactly where you want it on the road. But the RS is not a serious track day car. It also has a sense of humour. Select drift mode and Ford's new four-wheel drive system begins to work its magic, with around 70% of the engine's torque being sent to the rear wheels, which allows you to catch and hold huge smoky drifts. What you end up with is a car that has the feel and adjustability of a rear-wheel drive car, with the added security of four-wheel drive. You certainly can't do this in an Audi RS3. Overall then, the new Focus RS has certainly been worth the wait. Blistering performance, innovative technology, and an ability far and above any of its closest rivals. And all of this for under £30,000. The Germans should be very worried indeed. Click the video on the left to watch our first drive of the Audi RS3 and the video on the right for our test of the Golf R. Click on the play button to watch our latest videos and on the icon to subscribe to our channel.